Welcome to the Stories That Shape Us, where we have conversations about how discovering your identity, enhancing your relationships, and taking risks lead to a more purposeful life. I'm Tina Morales, and I'm an associate professional counselor and master's level marriage and family therapist. In my counseling practice, I help couples move from conflict to connection so they can start to live out their relationship vision.
I'm Kiara Johnson, and I own ATL Kula Wellness Studio with the vision of giving every family the hope and freedom to live a healthier life. Through our work, we create spaces and provide resources that foster true well-being.
We came together to bring you these stories so you can collect tools and insights from those who have stepped into their power and are making an impact. Join us on the road less traveled. Beautiful people, welcome to our final episode of season 1 of the Stories That Shape Us. That's really weird for me to say right now. We did it! We are your hosts, of course. My name is Tina Morales.
And I'm Kiara Johnson.
And today we get to just talk to each other. We get to reflect on what this process has been like, share some takeaways that we got, how we were blessed by these interviews, by these guests that we had on the show, and just really talk about the anticipation that we have for season 2. So let's just kick it off. So just to let you guys know, the way that we started this entire process is I've been thinking about doing a podcast because my husband loves to say all the things that he thinks that I can do. And so I was like, yeah, but I don't really know what that looks like. And me and Kiara have done some work with each other before at her studio.
Yep.
ATL Kula.
Yep.
And I remember we were planning for a retreat that we were hosting together. And me and Kiara just kind of figured out how to do some sort of live intro for the retreat.
Killed it. And I was like, oh, wait.
Right. Hold on. Legit.
Something here. Like, we just had chemistry.
Yeah. And then Kiara ended up coming to me and she was like, I think that we should host a podcast together.
She had the vision, y'all. It was just an idea that just popped in my mind. I remember, like, texting you or something.
Yeah.
And you were like, well, actually. Yeah, that's how it came
Legit,
to be.
yeah. I was like, well, the funny thing is, Kiara, I've actually been thinking about a podcast for a while. And I showed her these notes on my phone of, like, these are a whole bunch of guests that I've already been thinking about, like, interviewing. And I haven't done it because I struggle doing things alone. And I was like, I need partnership. I need a relationship. And it really just felt like God was bringing Kiara and me together in a really, really cool way. And so we were like, all right.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
God is good. I never, like, particularly knew or thought I'd be on a podcast. So, like, thank you for creating space for me. But, like, this has just been amazing.
It really has.
To a great season.
It really has. So we want to just kind of go back. And so I want to ask you.
Yeah.
When I did kind of pitch the idea of, like, okay, this is the idea of the podcast that I have, and I would love for you to partner with me on it because you already said you would on it. What were your like initial thoughts? Like, what were you thinking? What were you excited about? And what were you, like, anticipating?
I mean, I was so excited. Like, as Tina mentioned, owning a wellness studio, I think a big part of wellness is community. Like, the name of our studio is ATL Kula. That Kula means community.
I love that.
And I personally have gained a lot of strength and had a lot of healing from, like, reading books, listening to people's stories, fellowship. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, the stories that shape us, you get to do that.
Yes.
And I mean, it totally fits with everything that I believe in. And I'm also really curious about people.
Oh, I love that.
And why they do what they do and the decisions they make. Like, Corey has to tell me all the time, like, stop staring. I'm just like, I just want to know her or him. Yes. I want to know how they got here. And so combine that with just community and love and my curiosity and
you
That's
just
so
opened the
true.
door for me.
Yeah, like legit. If Kiara wasn't doing what she was doing, I think she might be in the psychology therapy field.
Honorary, y'all.
Yes.
Honorary.
That curiosity is so key. And so, coming into this, we did it. We were figuring it out. What were you anticipating, or what would you say, like, as we started going, that you started to realize or recognize?
Just how it's so complex, like how there's so many factors that impact someone's story. You know, it's nature.
Yeah.
It's nurture, the science behind even like the work that you do that I know we'll get into. You can do this for life. Like you could spend your life like talking to the billions of people and get a unique story every time. And I think it's just, we've only dabbled in it, and it was amazing as it was. I can only imagine where we have left to go, but just so much we can do and talk to and learn and build together. It's like really profound.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love it because I think that is one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this podcast.
I was going to ask you that. What got you to the stories that shape us? Yeah.
Well, so to bring it back a little bit, I know the way that I've learned in my life and the way that I've grown up. You like, we're just going to make up words here. The way that I've grown up is I'm a younger sibling, so I had an older sister. And so growing up, I always learned from her. Right? Mm-hmm. She was my person that me and her were like this. And I very much became a curious person of like, okay, like let me just kind of watch and see how people do things. And then did that go well? Okay, cool. I want to do that. Did it not go well? Okay, we're going to go this way. Yeah. So I've always been like, I learned vicariously through other people's experiences. And so going throughout college, I joined so many different groups that were not necessarily boxes that I fit in, right? So I would join, in college, I was a part of the Black Student Union, and I am Puerto Rican. I would join I was like, I want to be a part of this. I joined the Cape Verdean Student Alliance. If you know what Cape Verdeans are, just put a like or a hand clap or something. But I joined the Cape Verdean Student Alliance. So I really liked putting myself into places where I was different. That's awesome. And I think originally it came from a place of like, I was trying to figure out where I fit in. Mm-hmm. But as I kind of grew and I learned, I was like, you know what, this isn't about where I fit in. Like I do stand out. Yeah. I am different, but our differences, oddly enough, are what connect us. Yep. And so fast forward, I went to grad school, did the same thing. Yep. Did the same thing. Got involved. And then after I graduated, I was like, you know what? I think that it's so important for us to get into places with people that are different from us. People who maybe we don't know or wouldn't come across. Yep. And let's have conversations about different topics and see what we can learn.
I love that.
From each other. And so that's how Elevate was born.
Yep. So I remember Elevate.
You remember Elevate?
Yep.
So Elevate was something that I did in 2019 where I brought people together. It was what I was calling a conversation experience, right? Where we could learn and grow personally and professionally. We did that for a few months. Took a break because 2020 happened.
Life be lifing.
Life was lifing. And I was like, you know what? I want to still create this space, right? Like I guess this is like a hill that I'll die on, is that like we learn best and grow best when we are in relationship with people.
Seriously, yep.
And we're open. Yep. We're learning, we're growing. And I think that's what God calls us to.
That's where your strength comes from, too. I mean, like, especially during hard times, these last few years, like, I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
It just educates us and exposes us to things that maybe we wouldn't naturally be exposed to. Yeah. And so I was like, I really, really want to do this. Elevate was slowing down in terms of just, like, doing that specific work. And I knew I wanted to do it again in some form or fashion, but I didn't know how. And then lo and behold, Kiara was like, let's start a podcast. And I was like, thank you, Jesus. This is what I needed.
This is how it came to be.
Yes.
I mean, kudos to you just for having like the heart to get involved and almost like the empathy, and it feels like you were set up perfectly to just do the therapy work you do and to do this podcast. So it's just, I'm fortunate to be alongside you. Seriously.
Literally,
Seriously.
I know that I do my best work when I do it with other people. And that's why I'm so glad that you have been so open and willing to say, you know what, I want to do this with you.
Absolutely.
It excites me. So
It's been the highlight of my year at all.
Yes.
Seriously.
Well, so that's a little bit of the background. And just so you guys know, I don't know if you realized, but our co-host here actually gave us a third co-host. Okay?
We do. I am pregnant with a baby girl, Ella. She's due February 23rd. So she's been a great podcast partner.
She really
As long as
has.
she's well fed for the conversation.
A whole lot of Chick-fil-A. We got to do
She's
the
my
Chick-fil-A.
superpower.
So we've literally gone through this process. Life has happened along the way. So let's transition into a little bit of like, what would you say has been, I guess, the highlights for you going through this process, interviewing these guests? What have been some highlights?
For me, overall, I'll say overall first.
Yeah.
It's like I learned so much. I mean, we had a great season 1.
Oh
my goodness.
Yeah.
Drawing upon the experiences of each guest,
Yeah.
upon their strength, their courage, their uniqueness. I mean, it gave me confidence to do everything that I did this year and to do life. So just overall, like, that's the biggest highlight for me.
Oh my gosh, yes. I love it.
What was your biggest highlight?
Oh man. For me, I think the biggest highlight was after watching all of these videos, all of these guests, I'm just like, wow, there is so much power in these people's stories.
Yeah.
And it's one of these things, like, we knew some of these people. Actually, I think we knew all of them in some form or fashion. But then, like, we learned so much more about them. And it's like
details I had not known before. Yeah.
it made them and their stories that much more like big and colorful, and I love that. It just seems like we went deeper with them, and so that was a highlight for me. It's just getting to know them on a deeper level was cool.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I know we had specific highlights. Do you want to talk about those or?
Yeah. Let's talk about specific highlights. So I gotta pull out my list. One of let me see what the first. Okay, Michelle.
Self-care was a theme throughout this season.
It was.
Michelle,
self-care and burnout.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And what I remember and what I took away from Michelle and even Dr. Kim too was like redefining self-care. It's not just the yoga class or the massage. It's like boundary setting. It's redefining priorities with people, with work. It's an intentional life practice.
A lifestyle.
Something. Yeah.
It's absolutely a lifestyle of.
It's cute. The classes are cute.
It is.
The massages are cute, but it's more. It's so much more.
It is. And I think for me, so coming from a grad program where they talked about self-care so much. Yeah. And I was just kind of like, again, I'm like, that sounds cool. Nice buzzword. Right? Yep. But then really recognizing the reminders all the time, like having Michelle and Dr. Kim come on and like give us reminders, or even other different ways of looking at it, different perspectives of how to look at your relationship with self-care, what it means to you. One of the biggest things that stood out to me with what Dr. Kim said was, when it comes to our work and the things that we do, think about it as, this is my current assignment. This is not my entire identity.
Not my whole life.
This is not who I am.
Yeah.
This is my current assignment, and I'm taking that with me everywhere.
Noted. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Michelle, with the self-care is the body, boundaries are the clothes or the outfit. I think that's what she said. I was like, love it. I love visuals, so that was so helpful.
That's a good relationship. No, self-care, we got important ways to think about it, I think.
Yeah.
Recognizing when you're burnt out. That was
Yes.
something specific.
Oof.
Being able to really define it, like, you get more cynical, just exhaustion that's just you can't cure. Like,
Yeah.
being able to be that aware and have that knowledge and
Yeah.
science behind it, I think is really powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
How about Cynthia? So episode 2 is Cynthia. What
Cynthia's
did you
was
get?
so educational, y'all.
Yes.
We need to have like a couple follow-up. Everyone needs a couple follow-ups.
Right.
But just the level of education and how to think about systematic systems and how they just impact you and your life.
Yeah.
Like
Oh
the
my
systematic
gosh.
consequences. Like it just makes me more aware of like what I've experienced.
Yeah.
And why I've experienced it.
Right.
What can that be attributed to?
Yeah.
Like, just so informative.
It was such a conversation of connectedness in a way, right? Like when we think about systems, it really shows us that we are connected. Like there's not something that I can do that doesn't impact somebody else.
Yes.
Right? And so it was really cool. One of the things that she said was, and I may be quoting it wrong, but she said something about, like, to learn about ourselves and our future, we have to learn about our past.
Yep, she did.
And it's that theme of connectedness throughout, right? Like we can't ignore where we come from, where we live.
And it came out in how, like, in her service work and how that she loves and can truly serve people, because she's not just seeing someone who might be troubled. She understands why they're troubled.
Yeah. She sees
what
the
they
whole system.
need, the whole system. And I think that's like true change. And that's what really like sticks with me.
Oh, I love it.
From Cynthia's.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. She also taught me bee breathing. I didn't know about bee breathing.
We did do bee breathing. I do remember that.
Yes.
No, that was awesome.
Yes.
And then I know we had Christian.
Yes. Oh my
Some
gosh.
big faith stories.
Yes.
Christian and Dorian, I mean, several throughout, but Christian and
Yeah.
Dorian kind of
Really stood out.
stood out to me on the faith journey.
It was so interesting as I was rewatching our conversation with Christian. I was like, this guy is such, like, I think he called himself a hustler. Like a hustler mentality.
Yep.
But I just remember thinking, like, this guy is such a humble hustler. Like, he was so just, like, poised and relaxed. And it's like, yeah, well, I'm just going to try this new thing and I'm going to make it work. And I was just like, this is amazing. There was also a sense of, like, wow, to hear it from someone else what my husband's been saying about his own life.
Yeah, that's so real. That happened. You know what? Corey did say that. Like, that's so true.
Yeah.
And also him drawing upon his own strength, like I know with his procedures and just life almost threatening situations. I mean, I think he's, in a way, it's kind of freed him to be bold. And I think that's something to take from.
Yes.
It's like you live some life, you can use it to kind of feel that freedom.
That the risk tolerance thing was so big.
Because he's like, as long as I have my health, what's a risk?
Right.
I got my body.
I really think that's like another side of, like, risk and faith are like two sides of the same coin almost. And the way that he described it to you, like you said, like he was like, if I have my health, I can take, like, he has a high risk tolerance.
Yes.
And I think there's a big aspect of faith that comes into that. And maybe we can jump to Dorian, because Dorian was also What would you say you took from Dorian's?
I remember distinctly, well, let me not say that because I don't want to quote him exact, but I remember one moment during his interview when he talked about, I think, what was the most fulfilling. And I want to say he said he looked back on his journey and his story and he knew he didn't get there on his own.
Yeah.
And I did not expect that to be the answer. And I was like, amen.
Right.
Are we in church? Like, I was just so inspired by that level of faith and humility and just belief in God to be able to look back and say, man, did not get here on my own. That's the relationship. Talk about community and relationship. That relationship with God was just so touching to me.
Yeah, I remember when we were talking with Dorian, first of all, it felt like I was, like, in church. I was just like, preach, sir. Yeah. Because my heart felt so like this sense of, like, my heart is at home. Like, really thinking about when you realize, like, man, there's only so much I can do. There's only so much that I can do. And God really does the rest. But it's a partnership, right, of me doing what God calls me to do.
Yep.
And I think one of the biggest things that stood out from our conversation with Dorian was where he said that he recognized that his setbacks were actually stepping stones that God was creating for him. And oh my gosh, that was such a journal prompt for me.
Yes.
Of like, what setbacks am I experiencing now or have in the past, and how has God used those as stepping stones? It was just, that one just grounded me.
Same.
It was
agree.
so good.
And getting to like the 11th hour kind of so many times and still facing a mountain. You've done everything you could possibly do, and just kind of letting your faith work. Just let me tell you.
Yeah, that one's one to just to sit with.
Please. And then I know we had two that kind of stick out to in my mind when it comes to like embracing uniqueness. Dr. D and Jasmine.
Fangirl moments with those.
Yeah. And just how like not conforming and owning who they are.
Yeah.
Whether it's their ideas or, race or just how it propelled them and made room for them to share their gifts, I think was empowering.
Made room
for them. Yeah.
Yeah, both of those were such a beautiful story and reminder to me, honestly, of what it means to like lean into your uniqueness.
Yes.
To not shy away from it, to not try to fit into a box, to not try to fit a mold. Like, you are your own mold. Like, God created you the way he did for a very specific reason, and to like discover that and to stay in alignment with that is such a freeing journey, I think.
It was. And you mentioned that reminds me more of Jasmine's when she's just so humble with her learning and her expression through cosplay. It's like, I'm learning this new design, and I'm just going to share it with you because this is where I'm at. Like, that just confidence or comfort in yourself and in your own growth. I mean, I think it just comes from embracing you, and I think that's some takeaways I took.
Yeah, and Dr. D's, when she said something that I very much resonated with, where that question of, how did I even get into this room that I'm in, right? Like, it's the way that we view ourselves, and how that can influence the places that we think we're allowed in or not, and how that shifted for her to be able to say, no, like, my uniqueness, I connect with people on far deeper things than how I view myself with, like, my race, my ethnicity, my gender, my level of education or experience. Like, no, we connect on such deeper levels with people. It was a beautiful conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So good. And then I remember we had Danielle. What were some of your highlights from Danielle?
Oh, first of all, Danielle is a beautiful gem of a person. Let me just say that. Danielle's interview, I remember what she said that stuck out for me was that God is in the mundane and the miraculous.
I remember that.
Oh my gosh, that one like struck me. And that really stuck out for me because she was sharing, like, sometimes we can get caught in comparing our stories with other people's stories and see, like, oh, I could see how God was working in your story or that story. But we fail to see how God is working in our mundane, every day,
moment to moment.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So that blessed me. I was just like, okay, how can I take this to like see God in every moment, not just like the major changes?
And just the power of, she talks a lot too about community and the women's groups and just finding that and letting God bring relationships to you and use relationships just so just necessary just to do life together.
So good. Episode 6, we had Bella. Was that 6?
That was Bella. That was episode 6.
Yeah. What did you get from that one?
Listen. Bella. Like, her, just such a genuine journey of describing such a painful experience.
Yeah.
And pulling herself out of that.
Yeah.
With affirmations, with other relationships.
Yeah.
And then letting that inspire her to help other people.
Oh my
and
gosh.
just her being able to like just take you there, and you really see
the
pain she went through and then where she is,
Yeah.
Just so inspiring to do that.
Yeah. It's almost like
Yeah.
she flipped pain on its head and like infused it with so much self-love.
Yes.
It was really, really awesome to see, like, if we could love ourselves that much, right? Like, to really say, like, if I look at this thing through this lens of I love me, and so now I'm going to figure out what I want to do, out of this place of loving myself, I just feel like that can switch so many things.
Yeah, she really took the time to pause and do, like, the internal work, an internal, intentional work, and it was beautiful journey for her to share.
It was.
Yeah. And I know we had Anna.
Oh, Anna.
Anna got fire. I mean, a lot got fire, but Anna got some fire in a good way. And you see how she carries, like, that weight of leadership.
Yeah.
And I love how she kind of called that out, kind of like the opportunity of leadership, but also like the weight and sometimes the burden of leadership. And being able to stay true to, like, who you are and what you're there to do, and just
with so much grace and poise.
Yes.
Can we just add that?
Yeah.
Anna, if you've ever met Anna and been with her in person, you know this woman has so much grace, so much poise, and at the same time is such a champion for other people. It's ridiculously beautiful. I think one of the things for her that I took away was, like, she really started off, first of all, her stories.
I was just going to tell you, her childhood stories, y'all, I was sitting there like there was a movie playing in front of us. Like, you could tell those impacted her so deeply. Yeah. So deeply.
She is such a storyteller.
Yeah.
So amazing at it. And the thing that I got from her stories is that she said she really wants people to feel seen and heard. Like, it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. Like, she wants people to feel seen and heard. And I think, and I don't even know if she does this on purpose, but, like, I think that calls out the leader in all of us. Like, when you are really seen and heard by the people that you're around, there's a sense of empowerment that comes of, like, cool. Like, I could do this too. Like, it bolsters you up. And she's awesome. She was awesome.
Yeah, check it out.
Yes.
Leadership. And then I know we had Vava. Vava. That was our duo.
That was the first duo we had.
Yes. And just, I'm fangirling on Vava. I've known them for a few years, and just their relationship with each other. Yeah. Having a successful business relationship for over 10 years. To what were we talking about? Melanie said when she said, like, she's able to kind of be open with herself and challenge herself at the same time, like giving yourself that grace, but, like, still like pushing forward.
Oh my gosh.
And Lauren's heart for service through business, like they're just profound.
Yeah, they were incredible. I know Melanie said that she's in a process or has gone through a process of embracing herself while still challenging herself. And I'm like, oh man, that is the dance that we have to figure out how to do.
It's a balance.
Like, to love ourselves enough to bring ourselves to new levels, right? And Lauren's story, what really stood out from what she shared was just the ability to create your own narrative and to define yourself, to not let other people define you, and for you to create your own narrative. They were awesome. And also, I probably need them.
Yeah. Seriously.
Literally, this lineup of guests, if you haven't even heard enough from us, then you need to go back and watch these guests.
Over these holidays into this new year. Watch. You will be so fulfilled.
Yes. Literally let yourself be open to learn. I think that's one of the big things that I would say as you're listening or as you're watching these guests share their stories. Come with a posture of openness, right? Because that, I think, is where we're really going to allow ourselves to learn and to grow. Take what works for you, let what stands out stand out, and then leave the rest, right? Like, I think that's so important. But I would love to talk about what we share with you guys. This was our journey. We're figuring this out as we go.
Absolutely.
And so one thing I would love to ask, so that we can just be candid with people, is just like, what were some of our own challenges going through this process? So I would love to know, what do you have?
I would say when you're doing this and like talk show host and your therapy work and this work, being able to compartmentalize, because you know, in a day, life be lifing and it doesn't stop, but being able to enter a conversation, enter a room and be present for that story and for that guest sometimes is challenging, especially being pregnant. You know, might have been a rough day, but being able to put that aside and say, hey, I'm going to give you me, my ears, you know, my heart. And I mean, it's of course worth it and fulfilling every time.
Yeah.
But it could be tough. Yeah.
It is. I think that points to the fact that, like, when we are listening to other people's stories, or we're listening to other people share, like, it's really hard for us to create space, especially if we haven't created space, like, in our own lives, or if space hasn't been created for us in our own lives.
Right.
And so it can be really hard. I know in our graduate program, like I said, self-care, they kept talking about it, and I was just like, I don't get it.
Yes.
But now I do. It's it is so hard to hold people's stories with the true tenderness and care when we maybe are still trying to figure out how to do that for ourselves. And I think that's an ongoing journey, just going back to self-care.
It is.
It's such an ongoing journey. So I could so see how that was challenging.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing it with me.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
I'm trying to think, for me, what were some challenges I had? Well, something I was sharing with you earlier. I'm a planner. I like to plan. I like to know what's happening. I didn't know what was happening here.
Yes.
It's really hard to plan. It's really hard to plan for something like this, right? Anytime you invite somebody into something, it's like you can't plan for other people.
Right. Can't control that.
You can. And I think the other part of that for me, which was challenging, but I'm really, really grateful for, is like how to trust people with your vision.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like, Kiara is, first of all, I think me and you have just, like, continued to grow and, like, build our friendship, which I love. And I think this was a really cool avenue for us, because to trust someone else with your vision, to say, like, do you care about this too? Is this important to you too? It's hard, right? But I think it's such an aspect of what living in light is all about.
It is, yeah.
Which is how to, like, live and love and lead from a posture of relationship. Like, this really just goes back to, like, how God created us, and I think sometimes we can be so against it, because it does involve a lot of risk.
It does. It's
It involves risk.
Yep.
And it can be hard. But I will say it's just been so worth it.
Where two or more agree.
Go ahead.
I think we felt that.
Yes.
Like,
oh my gosh, yeah.
yeah.
So challenging as well as equally fulfilling.
Yeah.
Because we went through season 1.
Yeah, we did. We did. Can we talk about one thing we're proud of?
Yes.
I want to talk about super proud of being a part of this, because I was telling you earlier, it's like one of the first projects I have been so overt with my faith and about my faith. You know, I feel like growing up, I learned kind of you keep those things when you leave the house, politics, religious beliefs, kind of keep those to yourself.
Yeah.
But, and my faith leads everything I do. So don't get it twisted. Everything I do got my faith behind it. But this, like, talking about it and being open to sharing it, and I think it's been just amazing. I'm really, really proud of that. Yeah.
I love that. And I love that you share that, because me too.
Yeah, I love it.
Me too. I think people might think that because, you know, I have a business and I put it on my website, that this is all about what God does in my life and trying to incorporate that into everything that I do, that it can be easy. And I will be very honest, it's not, because I also grew up up north, and up northeast of the United States. I don't know if I feel like I need to make that clear. People don't talk about their faith. Yeah. It is very much something that happens on Sunday, and then Monday through Saturday is just like everything else. Yep. And I went to a grad program where I learned that, our faith and our relationship with God, with Jesus, is what seriously is interwoven into every aspect of our lives. And so it is hard,
so
yet
fundamental.
Holy.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so fundamental. Like, especially as we get older, it's like, I can't really compartmentalize. I can't leave that at home.
Yeah.
It guides my decisions. It guides my relationships. Yeah. It guides my interactions. Like, I cannot leave that home. So it's, if anything, it's inspired me to just live more bold.
Ooh.
So
I hope it does that for you too. Really, for me, I would say what I'm really proud of is just doing this all scared.
Yeah.
Doing it with like self-doubt. I will be very honest with y'all. Like, self-doubt is such a part of my story. But being able to see something through, not knowing if I'm worthy, not knowing if I'm capable, not knowing if I have the authority or the power to speak into something, and constantly being reminded that it's not about me anyways.
Yes.
It's about what God's trying to do through me and through us. And so I'm just really proud that that I did it scared and that I did it with a partner. I'm telling y'all.
Do it scared. Do it scared. I think it speaks to the power of community and holding space for people and their gifts. Because let me tell you, you would never know that about Tina. I would never know that about you. But that's why fellowship's so important.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Community. So, I think we have to ask the question.
Yes.
Kiara, is there a question that I didn't ask you that you wish I did? What would it be and how would you answer it?
I might have spoiled it with the proud one.
Oh,
but
okay.
There's so many things. What haven't I shared? You're just awesome. Maybe like where we envision this going. Were we already going to talk about this?
Oh, we are going to talk about that.
Okay.
Then I'll wait. You'll wait?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's one question? Do you have one? Ooh. I spoiled it already. But like, do you have one you didn't
I know.
talk about?
I share a lot.
I know.
Any question that I wish you would have asked, and how would I have answered it?
Yeah.
The question that's maybe coming to my mind is, what do you hope that people get from this? And maybe we kind of already touched on that. Mm-hmm. But I think for me, the way that I would answer that question is, I hope that people, one, feel connected. I hope that people feel inspired. But I hope that this also gives people the courage, that boldness that you talked about.
Yes.
The audacity to show up as God created you. Yeah, that.
That's amazing.
That is what I hope that people learn from this, and that that you would be open to what your current assignment is and what your next assignment may be. That kind of
reminds me. Yeah, that kind of reminds me of a question. Is maybe like who do you have in mind when you think of like our amazing listeners? Like, who do you hope this reaches?
Yeah.
And for me, really, it's anyone, because there's never a wrong time, or it's never too late to change paths, to pivot, to own your story. Oh, let me not get into spoilers for season 2, but it's never too late. And like, so who is anyone, but especially like the earlier, the better that you can get and grasp some of these things.
Yeah.
Fellowship, the faith, the uniqueness, you can really set up the building blocks of your life. So
Yeah.
it's for anyone at any point, but especially if you're in that career building phase,
Mm-hmm.
if you're starting something new, if you're in college and
Yeah.
feeling lost, like I really hope that this is for you and
Yeah.
that you were blessed by it.
Amen. Yes, that's it. You want to do this again?
Yes.
You want to do another
again
season?
and again and again.
So, y'all, we got to share with you.
Yes,
We do have plans
we do.
to do this again. Season 2, which is,
Yes.
again, just so very weird to say.
I know.
And me and Kiara were talking about, like, man, we would love to have a theme.
Mm-hmm.
We would love to have a theme for the next season. And we were kind of ping-ponging ideas back and forth with each other. And then Kiara just threw out an amazing thing. And I was like, okay, hold on. I think that's it.
You feel the tingles go up, through your head. Yeah.
Right. When you just feel it in your spirit, you're like,
Yeah,
okay,
that's
that's it. So, we're drum rolling. You ready?
Drum roll.
Kiara, what is the theme for season 2?
I'll make a wish on my belly.
Yeah.
Reclaiming you.
Yeah.
Reclaiming you.
Yeah. Reclaiming you. And I love
Season
it
2.
because it is such an aspect. Y'all know I talk about relationships all the time, but I will be very clear that when I say relationships, relationship is any form of connection, right? And so we talk about our connection with God, our connection with others, but it's also about the connection and the relationship that you have with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So season 2 is going to be about reclaiming you, that relationship you have with you.
Yes.
So I'm excited.
Me too.
I'm excited. So we wanted to put this out there. If you know of anyone, or if you are that person, that wants to share your story, or you want to nominate someone who has a story of, hey, they went through a process of reclaiming themselves, or I've gone through a process of reclaiming myself, who I am. We would love to hear from you. We are open. Please reach out to us. We'll share some sort of
Contact
information.
Get in touch in all the ways.
Yes, but please get in touch. We're excited about season 2.
Yes.
And so, is there anything else I need to share? I got to check my notes.
Yes.
Let's see. I think that's anything else.
I think that's it.
That's it. We did it.
Big dreams for season 2.
Yeah. So let me leave you guys with this. Season 1 was about, I don't know if there was really a theme that we intentionally planned for, but a lot of what we heard was about how people had gone through something difficult, had some pain in their life, and they shifted it into purpose, into loving on others through what they've been through. Mm-hmm. And so I want to give you a journal prompt, because I think we want you to think and apply these stories to your life, yes. Right? So here's a couple of journal prompts for you. What struggle are you currently going through? What struggle maybe have you been through recently? I want you to first just jot that down. Mm-hmm. Jot down whatever struggle it is. Create space for that. This is a time to pause and really reflect on maybe the truth of what's hard right now, or what has been hard for a season. And then I want you to ask for God to reveal himself to you. I want you to ask God to say, hey, what are you trying to show me about you and your character in this season? Or what are you trying to show me about how you view me, what you think of me, how you want to love on me? Mm-hmm. Right? Really just allow yourself to process through that. So those are your questions. What are you struggling with right now? And then ask God to reveal himself to you. And I pray that opens up doors. I pray it leads you onto a path of whatever it is that God has for you. So
I'm going to do those 2 journal entries too. So, yeah, yes. That's awesome.
Y'all, we are so appreciative that you have joined us on this journey. This is a part of our story that is continuing to shape us. And we pray that these stories will continue to shape you along your journey. Thank you guys for being with us.
Thank you.
See you next time.